John Duggan is with us this morning. John, good morning to you.
Jar Nathan, how are we doing?
What's going on?
Well, I enjoyed the final and watched it at home, and I felt that the pitch was quite big. I wondered if the players found it a while to adjust to the pitch, and I didn't think the game was that great until extra time. Chris Forrester's goal was fantastic, and then obviously Rory Feely equalised, and Stephen O'Donnell was talking in the press conference about how much they practice penalties, and that obviously paid off in the shootout when they got 4-3. So he's been linked with Dundalk this morning. Dan McDonald's got a piece in the Indo about that, and Steve Staunton as well in another paper being linked with the Dundalk job, which is interesting to see. But look, 37,000 fans, there's definitely something brewing on Irish football from a positive point of view. Great to see it. That's a record attendance for the Aviva, and I'm delighted to see that. And I think next season will be fantastic with Damien Duff on this touchline, with Jack Byrne back in the league, and we can identify, hopefully, given all the amazing sports journalism that was done in the last few days about these people that play for these clubs, and hearing the stories like Ian Birmingham there, and there'll be hopefully much more stories to come. So that's very much a true fact. That's a statement of fact. I also think it's also true to say that the thuggery that we saw outside the Irishtown house was appalling, and can't be just glossed over and brushed under the carpet. Obviously there's a very small minority of gougers were involved in throwing bottles and punches and flares, and the Gardaí will investigate, and hopefully they're going to identify who these people were and get this stamped out of the game. Because I recently lived in Irishtown for 18 months. I walked past that venue every single day. I've never seen a moment's trouble day or night, and it was just pretty sickening to see the stuff that I saw on social media. That can exist as a true fact, as well as the occasion being a great as well.
Yeah, you just need to make sure that the policing is excellent.
There's a police station
forward
around the corner from that, like literally around the corner, a few hundred yards. So what was happening there is a question that needs to be asked too.
Well, it's clear that this was premeditated. They're turning up in balaclavas. There's no question.
Everybody's got a balaclava now, though, right?
They've no question they knew what they were doing, and I think you're right. It can't be glossed over, and I'm sure there will be charges and investigations, and anybody who's around the clubs, and if anything comes out that, you know, people who are members of the clubs knew that this was happening, well, action needs to be taken. At the same time, I don't think it should overshadow completely what happened yesterday with the crowd that was there, with the match, with the progress that's been made, and that a reputation and an unfair reputation around Irish football can be allowed to take hold, that hooliganism is a part of Irish football. It's just not. It's just not. These isolated issues happen where people take advantage of a situation to associate them with the club, to basically let themselves have a scrap and act whatever way they want. Like, this does not happen week in, week out in Irish football. It just doesn't.
It is there, though. It was there yesterday, though. I've never seen anything like that around Croke Park. Imagine people throwing bottles outside Gills on Lord Ireland final day. It'd be on live line for the next month.
I'm not sure. I think that I don't think it's a football specific thing, is it? Like, is this not just like, if you are outside any chippers in any small town in Ireland, there's a fight at the weekends. Like, that's you know, how's that different? I think the comparison with other sports is a fairly easy. I've seen a lot of GAA people make that comparison on Twitter over the last 24 hours.
The argument could be made that the violence in the GAA happens inside the grounds,
yeah,
rather than outside the grounds.
If there was thuggery on a GAA pitch, and there is an awful lot of it in Gaelic football especially, at club level,
it doesn't really get talked about, does it?
No, but if there was, and it would happen yesterday, I'd say exactly the same thing about the GAA or about the rugby. So I was just a little bit disturbed by what I saw on social media yesterday with those videos, and I'd rather not have seen it. And if we can have a situation where these things don't happen again, that's great. That's the only reason to call it out.
I think it needs to be policed properly, and I think that the clubs need to come out and make very strong statements about it, and the FAI needs to make a strong statement about it to show that there is a united front. And then we need to hear what the policing is going to be. Like, how much are they trying to infiltrate the level of organisation that was going on? How organised was what happened yesterday? Like, that's the type of stuff that you need to find out. So, but I don't think that it's endemic in League of Ireland football at all. And
no, and there have been previous isolated incidents, and there's been issues around the Lewis, around some of the Dublin derbies. But again, you have to get ahead of this. Like, 20, 30 lads didn't just rock up in Irishtown unannounced and all randomly run into each other and think, oh, who knew there was a Pat's event on, a Pat's family event happening in the pub. They were talking to each other. You need to have that bit of intelligence to know, police intelligence to know that something here could possibly happen. Are we ready to ensure it doesn't, no matter what? So something went awry yesterday, and they need to make sure that this is a one-off, that it doesn't happen again, because, as John said, I think there's definitely momentum behind the league. People are getting into that routine and that habit of a Friday night of going to matches, and we know that a lot of stadiums, the facilities aren't great, but you need to make sure that the matchday experience is a safe one.
Yeah, otherwise you're not going to convince the families to go, and that's the big breakthrough for the league. A reminder, OTB AM live with Gillette, proud sponsors of Movember. Gentlemen, let's mow.